I always ask everyone who had any interaction with him to tell me a good Owen Hart story. I mean, everyone seems to have a memory of Owen that was particularly special.
Well, my thing about Owen is I never really had a lot of interaction with him.
You guys missed each other almost all the time, right?
Well, yeah, I was working my way up the ladder in the same companies that he'd been in. You know, I was in Japan, years after he'd been in Mexico and, Calgary and all this sort of stuff. But Owen was one of my biggest inspirations to become a wrestler. It was Owen, Ricky Steamboat, and Shawn Michaels. Because when I first saw Owen in '87, he blew my mind. Like, I'd never seen anybody do this stuff. Stampede, yeah. And, he didn't look like he was the biggest guy, and I wasn't the biggest guy either, especially in the world of '80s wrestling. The guys were giants. That's why I like Shawn and Ricky, too. They're always kind of, smaller guys. So I never got a chance to really meet up with him. A couple times on planes every once in a while.
And I know the story that you've told a bunch before is that Owen really taught you the importance of being early to everything.
Well, yeah, it's not like I met him one time on a plane and we just discussed it, and I was like, man, I just barely made the flight. He's like, well, you should just come an extra half hour early. You can have a coffee and relax. And I kind of always still do that to this day, 15, 16 years later, because what Owen said, always get there early. But I mean, that's one of the reasons why I always wanted to go to the WWE. It was, if there was a list of 20 reasons why I signed with the WWE in '99 rather than stay in WCW, that would be on the list. So I could get a chance to maybe someday work with Owen Hart. I never got that chance. But so when people ask me, is there anybody living or dead that you wish you would have worked with? The answer is always Bret Hart and Owen Hart, and neither one of them, obviously, for different reasons, that'll never happen. So,
but you got some time in a ring with Bret, didn't you?
Yeah, but Bret only the last couple, last year when he came back, but he's got a really bad concussion.
No, he wasn't working.
He can't do anything, So I'm talking about classic 1994 Bret Hart. That's the guy that I wish I could have wrestled.
Did you ever? I guess you must have felt. I don't know if jealous is the word, but Benoit got to have that special match with Bret.
Oh yeah, but see, not jealous, because once again, it's like talking about The Rock. I couldn't have had that match at that point in time. I mean, those guys had such great chemistry, and they had such great history with Owen. They really were doing something, almost magical, and inspired that way. And I watched that match. It was 3 segments long. I remember, because I was in the WWE at the time, and just. How amazing it was. I mean, it was a real great match. If you're a wrestling fan, you've never seen it, you got to watch it. But I couldn't have had that match that those two guys had. Not on that night.
What's your favorite Benoit match?
That he had or that I had with him?
Either one. Both actually would be great.
Probably the ladder match I had with him at Royal Rumble 2001, I believe.
I just watched that match. Yeah.
I think it's one of the best ladder matches ever. I think actually, I'm obviously biased, but I think the 3 best ladder matches was the original Shawn Razor, because it was the pioneer. I think the Jericho Benoit one. I think the Shawn Michaels Jericho one we had for the world title, because it wasn't about crazy spots. It was about psychology and the story behind it. But yeah, that was a great match. I once again wrote about that in Undisputed, about how we did this move where I did the Walls of Jericho on the ladder, at the top of the ladder, and that was all Benoit's idea. And it was a really cool concept and a really cool idea. So that's probably the best one that I like.
And what about of his that you remember watching?
I think when he won the world title at the Garden, WrestleMania 20, they had the 3-way. That was a great match.
I think it was a really cool match that is sometimes underrated. And the crowd, when you watch the match, the crowd was a little flat. But the match itself, by the time Benoit wins, the crowd has been completely...
And that's the art form of it, because nobody thought that Benoit would win that. They all thought Triple H was going to win. And they certainly didn't think he was going to tap out. So when he finally did, it was
now, granted, he had to put that crossface on him for a good 40 seconds, but he got him.
That's all right. That's the drama, man.
That's the drama.
The drama of the business. So, yeah, that was a great performance. I thought that was a great match.
I have a million questions for you, but the book is awesome.
Thank you.
And I think what you do for wrestling is super cool, man. And it's, the sort of the thing that I over time hope to contribute to wrestling is like getting to look at it in a way that's really smart and that people may not always see it for. And I think you've done a great job just allowing people to appreciate it who might not normally get a chance to.
Well, like I said, not only is it showbiz, it's an art form. I mean, you're a real artist. Anytime you create something out of nothing, that's art. And I don't think the art of wrestling gets as much credit as it should. Oh, it's all fake. There's nothing fake about it. It's like saying, "Hey, did you see Pirates of the Caribbean?" That's all fake. Of course it's fake, but is it a well-constructed story with a lot of twists and turns? Right. I mean, did Johnny Depp play a great character that you really believed? That's what we do. I mean, that's exactly what we do. So to me, that's the one thing I'd like to impart on some of of the naysayers. Like it's an art form. It's a show business art form like no other. And people that appreciate it, like yourself, know that. And people who don't, it's like I say about my band, about Fozzy. The only people who really don't like Fozzy are the people that have never heard the band, that just refuse to listen to it. And I think it's the same thing with wrestling. People who don't like wrestling just have this preconceived notion of what it is and won't allow themselves to try it.
And even if you don't come away loving it, there's no way. That's why I try to encourage people to go to a live show. It's hard to go to a live show and not understand why.
Absolutely.
It's so fun.
I'm not a baseball fan, but if I ever go to a baseball game, someone drags me to one, you have a great time and you understand the beauty of why people would like this. Do I like it as much? No, but I understand it. I respect it. I don't love hardcore rap music, but I understand the art behind it.
We're gonna work on that, Chris Jericho.
Actually, yeah, boy.
Yeah. We're gonna. That sounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear that? Yeah.
That's a white Canadian right there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna give you some good Canadian hip hop CDs.
Who is it? Snow? That's the last one I heard.
You know,
Drake is.
There you go.
Who's the guy that did Dangerous? The girl is dangerous.
Cardinal Official.
Cardinal Official. He's Canadian.
Chauclair, Socrates. There's a nice...
Socrates. Now that's a cool rap name.
Yeah.
Because he's all-knowing.
Yeah.
He's like a philosopher of rap.
He is, and Canadian, man.
Or Socrates if you're in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Well, good
See, where was those questions when we did our trivia earlier?
I tried to tell...
Chicken Run. Who the hell knows that?
Chris Jericho, ladies and gentlemen, get the book. He's one of the best ever.